Welcome to the Hey Legal Quiz with me, Edith Forrest. The aim of this quiz is to provide some light-hearted entertainment during lockdown and beyond. I'll be asking 20 questions of leading Scottish legal figures, questions which give insight to their careers and their lives beyond the law. So let's begin. I'm joined today by John Scullion QC. Hello, John.
Hi, Edith.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Yourself?
I'm very good, thank you very much, and thank you for agreeing to undertake the Hey Legal Quiz. That's very kind of you. All right, well, we'll just launch straight into it with our first question, John, which is, if you weren't a lawyer, what would you be?
Edith, I've never really thought seriously about doing any other job. That's not to say that I always wanted to be a lawyer. When I was at school, the only thing that I ever really wanted to do was to play football.
Right.
I was never really good, so it was never going to be a job. So I suppose at some stage I must have decided that becoming a lawyer was the next best thing.
Oh, and were you not good at football, or were you good at reasonably good but not good enough kind of thing?
I was all right. I could get a game for a local team, but I was never going to make any money at it.
Right. Okay. So was law kind of something that was at the back of your head, or was it just when it came to the point of really seriously having to think of what you were going to do to make a living, that was your choice?
Yeah, when it got to fourth and fifth year, it was really guided by the sort of grades I was getting at school. It was one of the things that I thought about doing. I think I had business as a backup, but then I got enough to get into do law and never really thought about it thereafter.
Okay, all right. Okay, so next question number 2, did you have a nickname at school? And if so, what was it and why were you given it?
My pals always called me Scully for obvious reasons, and that nickname has stuck with me throughout.
Really?
And I'm still called Scully, so.
By your school friends, they still refer to you as Scully?
My school friends, university friends, my friends generally call me Scully. Okay.
All right, Scully. Let's move on to question number 3, which is, again, sticking with school. Were you a SWATy type at school?
I worked hard at school, but I think because I played football, I think I kind of got away with it. So I wouldn't necessarily have been perceived as a SWAT, albeit I think I was probably working just as hard as SWATy types.
Right, but under the guise of somebody that was trying his best at the football as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Question number 4 is, what was your first job?
When I was 13, I got a job as a cream boy.
Okay.
And that involved selling cream and bacon around the doors. And
it's quite a combination, isn't it?
Well, cream, bacon. Eventually, they introduced cheese as well, and it was a great job, and I kept it up right through to university, and I've still got fond memories of it, and it taught me that the people in Hamilton are very generous. They were great tippers.
Really?
So yeah, I kept that up right to university.
Okay.
I think I moved on from there to working in pubs, but I don't think it was ever as well paid as the cream round was.
Now, I don't know if this applied to you, but I remember we had a cream boy came round our houses when I was young, and he had to wear a white coat and a white cap. Did you have that?
No cap, but I had to wear the white coat. I can even remember at the time thinking it was humiliating, but it was much better paid than other jobs like paper boys.
Right.
So I was able to put up with it. One way or another, I've been wearing a costume ever since.
Oh dear. Question number 5 is, how do you define success?
I think there are different types of success. Professionally, I think if your peers, the people who do the same job as you, think you know what you're doing and think you're half decent at it, then I think that's success. More generally and more importantly, regardless of what your profession is or what your job is, I think if you're comfortable in your own skin and you're actually living life to the full, then I think that's success.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that. Question 6, favourite drink, John?
I really like a can of Stella. I was going to New World Chardonnay, but I really like a can of Stella.
And have you been indulging much during lockdown?
I think probably like most people for the first few weeks of lockdown, I really did, and then eventually thought I really need to get a grip here. And then I went through a phase of extreme exercise.
Okay.
And then eventually I just decided we really need to get back to normal. We need to get back.
Stop the extremes.
Exactly.
Okay. Question number 7, John, is what don't you like about your job?
I like most things about my job. If I was to pick something I don't like it when judges or sheriffs or really just experienced lawyers generally, I don't like it when they are unpleasant or behave badly towards younger or inexperienced lawyers. I think this is it's a hard job, and I think more experienced lawyers really have a responsibility to help and encourage younger, inexperienced lawyers. So I don't like it when people behave badly when they really shouldn't.
Yeah. I'd like to say that doesn't happen much these days, but sadly it does. But I think there's certainly faculty have set up a kind of anti-bullying campaign.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing. That's a great thing, and we should all support that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we'll move on swiftly before we get into any details. Question number 8 is, which was your most memorable case to date?
In 2014, when I was in the Crown Office, I prosecuted the murder of Elaine Doyle, who was a young girl who was killed in Greenock in 1986 when she was on her way home from a night out. And it was a case that had enormous challenges, perhaps none more so than the passage of time and the effect that had on people's memories. It was also the first case prosecuted by the Cold Case Unit, which had been set up in Crown Office. So that brought its own pressures, and everyone was keen for it not to fail.
Yeah. And
in terms of the case itself, because of the passage of time, I think 41 suspects had been identified by the police over the years.
Wow.
And by the time of the trial, there were 41 incriminees.
Goodness.
The case was defended by Donald Finlay, and as you can imagine, he did a brilliant job. I remember that the case ran for more than 50 days, I think, and we spent the vast majority of that time trying to eliminate the 41 incriminees, some of whom were dead and many of whom had actually admitted the crime over the years. The whole case eventually turned on DNA evidence, and in 1986 there was no DNA science.
Yeah.
But at the time, forensic scientists taped the girl's body. At that time, they were looking for hairs and fibres. They were hoping to match them to perhaps an item of clothing owned by someone who was eventually arrested. But years later, they examined those tapings and they recovered the DNA of a young man who was out in Greenock on the night of the murder, and he was eventually convicted of that. But for a number of reasons, I would say that remains certainly the most challenging and memorable case that I've been involved in to date.
Certainly a significant number of incriminations. Was that the girl that she'd almost made it home and she was found in a lane near to her house?
She was yards from her home.
Yeah.
And her mother was still alive at the time by the time of the trial, but she was very unwell and she died shortly thereafter.
Oh dear, very sad. But as you say, very complex, difficult case. But it
was a great case. It was a great case for so many reasons.
Yeah. Okay, doke. Question number 9, John, is tell me one thing that would surprise me about you.
Edith, do you know I can't think of anything that would surprise you about me? Can't think of anything.
No unusual hobbies or sports or anything like that?
Nothing.
No. Oh well, we will move on. Question number 10 is, what traits in others irritate you the most?
I don't think I'm easily irritated. I tend to like most people most of the time. But if I was to choose one thing, I don't like rudeness. There's no need for it, so I would say that irritates
me. Yeah, absolutely. Question number 11: favourite flavour of crisps?
Walker's salt and vinegar.
Okay, every time.
Yeah, I have to say that I would always choose peanuts over crisps, but if I was having crisps, Walker's salt and vinegar.
Okay, do you know, I'm really surprised of the number of people who don't like crisps. Not that I'm a huge fan, but I would certainly quite like a packet now and again. But
I like crisps.
You like them, but you choose peanuts. Yeah, just a number of people have said they don't particularly like them and they've struggled to come up with a favourite flavour. But yeah, I'm salt and vinegar as well, John. Good choice. Question number 12 is, what book would you recommend everyone should read?
A book that I've recommended many times over the years is called Any Human Heart by William Boyd.
Okay.
And it's the story of a guy called Logan Mount Stewart. And it's his life story, and it's about the decisions that he made during his life and about the tremendous highs and lows that resulted from those decisions.
Uh-huh.
And I read it, and all my friends read it, and I remember at various times in the pub over the years when a dilemma arose and people would say, well, what would Logan Mount Stewart do in these circumstances? Inevitably that led to a bad conclusion.
Okay, so you'd recommend that?
I would recommend it, and I have recommended it to many people, but I would recommend that everyone reads that book.
Okay, interesting. That sounds a good read. Question number 13, do you have any irrational fears? I've got
plenty of fears that I would consider rational, but I don't have any that I think are irrational.
I suppose that's the thing, though, to the person who's fearful, it's not irrational, is it?
Yeah, I'm no hero, so there are loads of things that scare me, but I don't think any of it's irrational.
What can you give us an example of them?
Of things that scare me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not that keen on being up particularly high. I'm not that keen on going particularly fast. But I don't think any of those things are irrational.
Okay. Spiders, what about them?
They don't really bother me. I mean, if I saw a tarantula, I would be scared of that, but I don't mind the sort of spider you get crawling around the house.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's about right. It doesn't seem too irrational to me. I'm not particularly fond of heights and speed. I quite enjoy going fast, but I probably shouldn't be admitting to that. All right, number 14, John, is what or how old are your oldest pair of shoes?
15 years.
Okay.
They were my wedding shoes, and I haven't had them on too often since.
Right, okay.
So,
you still got them. Again, that seems to be a common theme for people their oldest pair of shoes seem to be their wedding shoes, but I suppose it's not something you're going to just chuck out in a whim.
I've still got them. Any other pair of shoes that I just throw out whenever I'm finished with them.
Yeah, All right. Question 15 is, who has had the biggest influence on your career in the law?
Danny Scullion. Danny's my uncle. He was formerly a sheriff in Glasgow, recently retired. You will obviously know him.
Yeah.
I trained with Danny, and he advised me to go to the bar eventually. Mm-hmm. And even now, if there's something that I want to discuss in relation to a case, I would consider calling him up, and I really still value his advice greatly.
Yeah. And he obviously retired last year. In fact, just about a year ago, is it now? Yeah. But very nice man, very knowledgeable lawyer, very good lawyer. So
good, decent man, and someone who is a great lawyer and has given me great advice over the years.
Yeah. Okay. Question 16, your favourite chocolate bar?
Galaxy.
Okay.
And I like chocolate, and I like to have chocolate with a glass of red wine.
Right, okay. I'm not a huge fan of the Galaxy, although strangely I do like the occasional Ripple. Does your...
Oh,
yeah.
That's a good thing.
Same thing in a different form, isn't it?
I like that as well. It's a bit messy.
Yes. All right. Question 17. What's the fanciest event you have ever been to?
In 2017, Barack Obama came to a charity dinner in Edinburgh. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine took a table at the dinner, and I was lucky enough to get invited along. And Kevin Bridges was the warm-up act. Barack Obama then spoke, which was obviously amazing, as you would expect it to be. And then Annie Lennox and Charlene Spiteri sang afterwards. And it all turned into a bit of a party, and it was a tremendous occasion. And I would say that's certainly the most glamorous thing I've been at.
Okay, that's quite an unusual lineup, isn't it? Well, certainly with the Kevin Bridges to start, to kick things off, but maybe that was just to get folk going.
It was it was, and he was brilliant, as you would expect. It was a great night. I don't really go to many fancy events, but that was certainly glamorous.
Yeah, that stands out. Okay, question 18. What quirks do you have?
I don't really think I have quirks, but I'm not really sure that I'm the best person to judge that. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be best placed to ask other people if they thought I had quirks. Certainly most people know that if they're looking for me during the day, on a weekday, then I'll be on the same seat in the library.
That's true.
I don't really think I have many quirks.
Okay, all right. Question 19. What is the best piece of advice you have ever been given?
Professionally, it was to go to the bar. Okay. And probably on a personal level, whenever I was old enough and started to go to the pub, my dad drummed into me that if you're ever in the pub, you always have to make sure you buy your round. And that's stood me in good stead ever since, I think.
And probably the two combine well as well, don't they? Both bars.
They both involve the bar.
Indeed. Question 20, John, is what job would you be terrible at?
I can't really think of any job that I would be good at, apart from the one I'm doing just now. But I'm not a very good driver, and I've got a pretty terrible sense of direction.
Really?
I think in fact it took me 5 times to pass my driving test. I'm up there with Michael Gove on that front. So I think I would be a terrible bus driver. Okay.
Or taxi driver or something like that. Yeah.
I use my sat-nav for everything.
Really? I wouldn't have thought that about you. You just strike me as being very kind of organised and calm and got it all together, but don't put you behind the wheel of a vehicle. Is that what you're saying?
Not if you don't want to get lost. But the thing is that I'm quite calm. I don't really mind being lost that much, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah. All right. Question 21. What is the weirdest talent that you have?
When it comes to my personal life, I don't have a particularly good memory for anything, events, but I can remember details of cases that I was involved in 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe that's something slightly unusual.
Yeah, and certainly I've got that kind of ability as well, but it's usually really irrelevant things, nothing that would really matter in the case, just bizarre.
Nothing is going to win you the case, but there was something funny that happened.
Exactly, absolutely. I suppose we all have that, and I don't know, maybe sometimes we just try and erase some memories from certain cases from our minds, but it's the kind of funny bits that keep us all going, isn't it?
Well, we've certainly got many things in many cases that we try and erase from our minds.
Yeah, absolutely. And then final question, John. Question 22 is, what have you enjoyed most about lockdown?
Well, I think doing what we do, our job is at times so all-consuming that at the beginning of lockdown, I really enjoyed the change of pace and enjoyed the fact that it allowed me to spend more time with my family. Mm-hmm. So I really enjoyed that, but I'm coming out the end of that now, and I think it's now time to be getting back to work. Yeah, for various reasons, really. For a variety of reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think most people share your thoughts on that too. Well, John, thank you so much. That was really interesting. I've learned a number of things about you now, which I honestly didn't think, and I'll be sure never to ask you for a lift. But thank you so much. Really grateful to you for taking the Hay Legal test. Not test, it's a quiz. There's no test.
Thanks for asking me.
You're very welcome. And before I let you go, John, can I ask you to nominate another victim?
I'm going to nominate my former colleague in Crown Office, Ian QC.
Thank you very much. I'm sure Ian will be delighted to take up that challenge. But thank you so much, John, and I hope to see you in the flesh soon.
Thanks, Edith.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Hay Legal Quiz. We are releasing more episodes weekly, so please sign up for free to Hay Legal on our website to access our free content, legal updates and more. Plus follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram and on all podcasting platforms.